Hi everybody, and welcome to MCU Q&A, the show where we take your questions about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, about us at MCU Exchange, or anything else that's on your mind. I'm Doug Herring. Joining me, as always, is Addie Bree Hayes. Hi, Addie.
Hey guys, hello Doug.
How are you?
I am good. I'm so pumped. I love MCU Q&A.
So do I. It's one of my favorite things to do. So anyway, if you want to get your question answered on this show, all you have to do is jump into the comments below this video and ask your question. We'll look at it. We might answer it next week, or maybe the week after that. Who knows? But we will definitely read it. If you don't want to comment on the YouTube video, you can also email us your question at mcuxshow@gmail.com. That's mcuxshow@gmail.com. I don't know why I repeated it, because it's going to be on the bottom bar, so they can just read it.
It's like those commercials when they say, like, call 1-800, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Once again.
Anyway, we were off to such a good start, too. Well, anyway, let's move on to our first question. So our first question comes from Luuk Romeijn. I know I messed your name up. I'm sorry, Luke.
Sorry.
Will Hunter and Bobbi from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ever return, either on television or Netflix or maybe in a movie?
I think, sadly, they'll come back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If not both, at least one of them. Because they were some of the best characters on that show, and they had a great goodbye, and it was going to be great that they had their own show, because they could totally lead their own show. And now that they aren't, they're going to bring them back. I know that...
You seem upset about that, even though you like the characters.
It's just because their goodbye was so good, and it was set up for something so awesome.
Yeah.
That it now is just kind of being retracted, being like, just kidding, we don't have those feels anymore. We all are back together again.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll be put into the Netflix series. I think they're just going to take them back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I really was excited about Most Wanted. I was bummed when it didn't get picked up for series. I agree. I don't think they'll become main cast members of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again. Because, like you said, I think that would kind of cheapen the great goodbye that they got. But I could see them coming back to guest star on an episode.
Or maybe like in the season finale of the next season, they like come in and like save the day type stuff.
Right. Kind of appearing like Deathlock.
Yes.
Where he's not a main character, but he shows up when they need him.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
Cool. All right. Let's move on. Our next question comes from Zane Drake. Zane asks, do you think we'll ever see the Iron Spider in the MCU?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think in Homecoming. Before Iron Man dies, I think Infinity War. One of those movies. Yeah, I think to really go against Thanos and like build Spider-Man to be the best he could be against Thanos. I mean, he's not just going to take him by himself, but right. I think we will see Iron Spider in Infinity Wars.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe Homecoming's a bit too soon.
Yeah.
But the relationship that they're setting up between Peter and Tony totally makes sense for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
For anybody who doesn't know, the Iron Spider suit is the suit that Tony Stark builds for Peter Parker using kind of similar technology to the Iron Man suit, and it's actually used in the Civil War comic series. Obviously, we didn't see it in the Civil War movie, but we did see that same element from the story, which is Tony upgrading Peter's gear. So whether or not we see the Iron Spider or not, we have kind of seen that relationship form between them.
Absolutely.
But so yeah, it makes sense to see Peter get a special upgrade from Tony.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree. Homecoming's a bit too soon for it.
Yeah. Especially that we now have, like, everyone, like, most people love this Spider-Man, and like, we finally got him right, and he's in the universe. I think they'll keep him Spider-Man for this first movie, at least.
Well, I don't think, if we do see the Iron Spider, I don't think it'll be a new or I don't think it'll be, like, his new normal suit.
Yeah, no.
I think it'll be like the Hulkbuster, where it's for a specific fight.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
Like you said, maybe Thanos.
Yeah.
Tony upgrades him for a fight where he might need the extra gear.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree.
Cool.
Alrighty, moving right along. Diego Roman asks, if everybody in the MCU were forced to fight with one another, every hero, villain, and agent, who would come out victorious? I love this question.
Well, there are different ways to look at that, though. You could do, like, one-on-one, you could do Hunger Games style, or you can, like, open arena. Everyone's just in this flat surface, dome area, and they just gotta fight each other.
Right, yeah, so let's talk about the three different methods you're fighting here. So, like you said, the first is one-on-one, like a tournament style where everybody fights a one-on-one fight. The winner moves on to the next round.
Because that one could get a little bit different because you can have really powerful people go against each other immediately.
Well, I think if that's the case, if you do like a March Madness style bracket, immediately you eliminate anybody who doesn't have really high level superpowers. Like Agent Coulson, Fitzsimmons, you guys are great.
Yeah.
You're not, if you have to go against Drax or Thanos or the Hulk, you're not coming out of it alive.
But if they go against each other, then one of them makes the next tier.
They might not make it, or they might make it past the first round. But I'm saying, if you want to talk about who's winning, who's able to beat anybody in a one-on-one fight,
right?
I think the finalists are going to be Hulk, Thor, Odin,
Vision,
Thanos, probably. We haven't really seen what Thanos can do on his own yet, so it's hard to say that he'd be in it. But just from his size and from what we think we know about him, it seems like he'll probably be in that.
Yeah, definitely Scarlet Witch, I think. Especially since she took down Vision.
Right.
Like, if she went against Vision, I think it's a fair game for both of them.
Yeah. So who's your money on to win the whole thing? Who could beat anybody in the MCU in a one-on-one fight?
This is so hard. I guess probably Hulk or Vision.
Yeah.
You see Vision, especially they really use him well in Civil War, that he can just change his density. So, like, even if you try to hit him, he's like, just kidding, it just went right through me.
Right. I think that's Vision's big advantage.
But then Hulk is just almost so indestructible and, like, so strong.
Yeah.
That, I mean, him against Vision, I think Vision would win, but Hulk against anyone else,
Now, the thing with Hulk, though, is that most people can outsmart him, but they're weaker than him.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get him against an opponent that can outsmart him and is physically stronger than him, maybe Vision, maybe Odin, maybe Thanos, then I think you have real competition for the Hulk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, Johannesburg was mostly destroyed in the process, but Tony was almost able to take him on in the Hulkbuster. Mm-hmm. So I think I give it to Odin, maybe.
Ooh.
Odin at his best.
Yeah.
Because, if he's about to fall into the Odin sleep, maybe not. But I think Odin is stronger than Thor. Odin is stronger.
Well, obviously.
Right. So I think he's the All-Father for a reason. I give it to Odin.
Yeah, I mean, I actually might take back Vision a little bit. If it's a one-on-one, I think Scarlet Witch would beat Vision. I think her powers are a little bit stronger, and obviously she's not at her prime yet. And I think she could also take down Hulk when she gets strong enough. Agreed. Not right now, she's not as strong, but seeing her do that smoke thing, and she like blew up a building,
right? And
she did the whole Carmack. Wasn't that her? No, just kidding. I lied.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Never mind. I was wrong anyway. But I mean, she obviously is getting super strong. That I think I actually take that. I say Vision or Hulk. I mean, Scarlet Witch or Hulk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what if it's like a Hunger Games scenario where it's not just a death match, but it's also about surviving and forming alliances? I think in that scenario, Ant-Man makes it a lot farther.
Oh, absolutely.
Because not only is Scott Lang a likable guy, so he might probably form alliances, but if he just wants to hide out, he can shrink down to the size of an ant, go up in a tree somewhere, and just wait it out until he's basically the only one left.
Yeah.
I also think that any villain is immediately out of it in a Hunger Games scenario.
Absolutely.
Because I think it's safe to assume that in a Hunger Games scenario, at least for the first little while, the Avengers are working together.
Yeah.
Until they're basically the only ones left.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've seen, there's no villain that can take on all the Avengers at once.
Yeah.
So I think even Thanos, we'll see in Infinity War, the Avengers will eventually defeat him, even after he has the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
So in a Hunger Games scenario, I think it ultimately comes down to the Avengers. And then, when you have to turn the Avengers on each other, I think that would then kind of play out a lot like the one-on-one matches, where it's Scarlet Witch, it's Hulk, it's Vision, it's the heavyweights.
But then I feel like in that moment, then there's a lot more emotions involved too.
True.
So that they like turn on each other. So I think Scarlet Witch would be out actually pretty soon. Because she, in the past two movies, obviously has like a lot of emotions.
Well, that's a good point. Like, which of the Avengers would be willing to kill each other?
Yeah, I think Scarlet... sorry, it's because of Scarlett Johansson.
I know.
Black Widow, I think, would survive very long. Because, I mean, she already, like, in Civil War, she is kind of she does turn on Tony, so...
Yeah.
And she's trained that way as well from her childhood. She's not super strong, but I think she would survive way longer than we expect.
I agree she'd survive longer than we expect, but when it's down to the final few...
I
don't think there's any way Black Widow's killing Thor.
Oh, yeah,
She might be ruthless enough to do it, but I don't think she could.
Hawkeye would survive long. I actually don't know if Vision would actually be the winner, because...
I think Vision would have real problems killing... I'm assuming this is a death match, by the way.
Yeah.
Vision would have real problems killing his teammates.
Yeah.
I think the one Avenger where that's not an issue is Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
He's not burdened by a conscience, really. I mean, he kind of is, but not really.
Yeah.
So I think in the Hunger Games style, I think Ant-Man, Black Widow, they make it a while, but
I think
Hulk winds up winning.
takes it in the end.
Now, how about a big, just gladiator-style death match? Everybody's fighting everybody. It's just a free-for-all.
Well, then I think at that point, if everyone's just fighting each other, it's going to be all
no
like
alliances.
It's going to be all the powerhouses: Hulk, Vision, Scarlet Witch. Basically all of the villains that we've talked about, Thanos,
Abomination. Yeah,
because they just are these big powerhouse powered people that would make it. I can't think of anyone else right now that I think
Odin the Destroyer.
Odin. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, cool.
And if you look at the Avengers, there's not that many super powered people. Yeah.
All right. So there you go, Diego. I don't know how you meant that question, but I hope we answered it sufficiently for
Maybe
you.
not that in depth, but sorry.
That's all right. No. Okay. Next question. Johnny Tate asks, what do you think the post-credit scene will be for Doctor Strange?
I think we kind of talked about this before. I think Spider-Man will show up in the movie, but if not, then the post-credits for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Especially if that's in New York. Because maybe that's the way Doctor Strange meets everyone, is through Spidey or something.
Maybe, although I actually think that it'll be 2 credit scenes. One of them will be kind of bringing Doctor Strange into the universe, whether it's through the Time Stone, which he probably has with the Eye of Agamotto, whether it's maybe showing Thanos watching him with the Time Stone, or Tony Stark meeting up. I don't know what it is, but I think it's going to be something that brings... Because I think for most of the movie, Doctor Strange is going to be very set apart from the MCU. Mm-hmm. And so one of the credit scenes will bring him kind of closer to it.
Yeah.
And I think the other one's going to be Spider-Man. Because one of the things that I thought was really interesting at the end of Civil War is all of these Marvel movies, at the end of the very last thing you see, after the post-credit scenes and everything, is Iron Man will return. The Avengers will return. It's whatever character the movie was about will return.
But...
Right. At the end of Civil War, it wasn't Captain America will return. It was Spider-Man will return. So, the Russos have talked about how they couldn't really comment on some aspects of the deal with Sony because there were a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that needed to be worked out. Mm-hmm. So this is a deal where I think Sony and Marvel have talked about everything. They've been very specific with how much screen time Spider-Man will have, all these things. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Marvel was contractually obligated to put Spider-Man in a post-credit scene for Doctor Strange. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Which is great. I'd love to see more Spider-Man. Like, if Spider-Man was, like, in every movie somehow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not complaining about that. But yeah, I think we'll see Spider-Man in one of the scenes, and the other one will be...
I definitely could see Tony.
Maybe Tony. To me, I think it'll have something to do with the Time Stone. Assuming that the Time Stone is in the Eye of Agamotto, which it really seems to be based on what Kevin Feige has said about the Eye's abilities.
Yeah.
I think it'll be something to do with the Time Stone and connecting it to the universe at large.
I mean, I think there is a slight chance, though, that Tony would come in and, like, invite Strange to the Avengers, since there's only, like, 2.5 of them right now.
That's true.
I think that has a slightly high chance as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could totally see that happening.
Cool.
Alrighty. Our very last question from the day comes from Gerardo Yanes, and he wants to know if the MCU were to ever have a crossover with another franchise, which would you want it to be? I'll go first on this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I would love to see the Guardians of the Galaxy crossover with the Star Trek universe.
Oh, that'd be fun.
You have to ignore the fact that any franchise crossover would totally break the continuity of the MCU.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just ignore that and have fun with it. Pretend it could happen.
That small little thing.
Right, yeah. But I think Star Trek, if you could, invent a way where it logically works, I think that'd be a really fun crossover.
Yeah.
To see Peter Quill on board the USS Enterprise with I love I love the original series. I love the Next Generation, but I'm actually thinking about the reboot, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
Oh no, I was thinking that too. I feel like the relationships between with Star Trek characters and Guardians of the Galaxy characters would be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see Scotty, as played by Simon Pegg, react to Rocket. Oh you know what I mean? Or Groot.
Or Drax.
Or Drax, right. I want to see Bones react to Groot.
I love it.
Where he's just trying to figure out the medical, how Groot's biology works.
Or even Rocket.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, for sure. I think that there are characters that, say what you will about Star Trek Into Darkness. It wasn't a great movie. I liked the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie a lot. And I think this younger take on the characters fits really, really, really well with the characters in Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'd like to see those characters meet.
Yeah, I totally agree. Sorry. Yeah. I had seltzer water.
I understand. So do you have your answer yet?
Yes, I do. Had to think pretty hard about this one, but I think Bond, Black Widow...
Okay,
type thing would be kind of cool. Seeing more, we've talked about this with the Black Widow solo movie. Seeing more spy stuff from her.
Sure, yeah.
So doing that kind of thing with Bond would be pretty cool. It's not like a huge universe mashup. It's not like Avengers and Star Wars. No,
right.
I think that kind of a small thing would be pretty cool and pretty easy to.
Yeah, I think
mend together.
I think any sort of crossover works better when it's focusing on individual characters.
Yeah.
I think if you just wanted to mash two universes together, things would get really messy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I agree. I wouldn't want to see the Avengers meet every Star Wars character.
Yeah.
That seems messy. That seems like it could be fun, and some scenes would be cool, but overall it wouldn't necessarily be a good movie, story-wise.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So I'm totally with you. When you pick a specific set of characters or a single character and bring them into a different universe, for that same same note of spy stuff, I think it'd be cool to see Black Widow or Hawkeye or the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. maybe in the Mission Impossible universe.
Yeah.
Those are really fun movies.
Well, hasn't Jeremy Renner already been in a Mission Impossible movie?
He was in a Bourne movie.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm thinking.
No, he might have been in a Mission Impossible movie.
I thought he was in the most recent one.
No, he wasn't in the most recent one. He might have been in 3.
Okay.
Somebody's going to tell me in the comments.
Yeah, you guys will let us know.
I'll feel stupid. But anyway, I think that the spy... The level of kind of really fun and exciting spy action that goes on in the Mission Impossible movies might fit what goes on in the Marvel Universe even better than the Bond stuff.
Okay. Yeah. That's fine.
No, I agree. I think if you wanted to pair... Because I think especially the Daniel Craig Bond works best not when he's paired up with just a random sex object for a female partner, but an actual capable...
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Character.
I was going to specify which Bond I was talking about, but now you have.
Sure, yeah. I mean, the Daniel Craig Bond, I think, is the only one that could ever treat any female as an equal.
Yeah.
And I think that Black Widow kind of upstaging Bond and being a better spy than Bond, I think that'd be a fun pairing.
And I feel like, they're both, popular in their own worlds in their own way. That'd be cool to see how they deal with each other.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, that's our last question. So that is the end of this week's episode of MCU Q&A. Thank you so much for all your questions, guys. We love getting questions from you. So please comment in the comments below with your question. about anything that's on your mind, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or us, or anything else. With all that being said, I'm Doug Herring. Make sure that you're following the MCU Exchange at the MCU Exchange on Twitter or at MCU Exchange on Facebook. Addie, where can people find you on?
And you can find me at Addie Bree on Instagram and Twitter. And that is the end of our show.
All right, we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.